I'm Edward Warfield, the publisher of City Biz, and I'm honored today to interview David Kaspary, who's the CEO of MidPoint Technology Group. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me.
Can you provide an introduction and a snapshot to MidPoint Technology Group?
Sure. So, MidPoint's a technology infrastructure company based out of Columbia, Maryland. We provide services such as structured cabling in the enterprise space, as well as in the federal government and local and state governments. We also provide security services, installing solutions such as card access, surveillance systems. We also do audiovisual solutions, so whether that's boardroom solutions, digital signage, video walls, everything that encompasses audiovisual solutions. And we also operate in the data center space, helping to stand up data centers to include the fiber networks inside the data centers, the office space inside the data centers, and also building the building cabling needs as required.
So you started the company in your grandfather's Baltimore townhouse in 2014. Tell us about the startup, your original vision, and some of the milestones over the years.
Yeah, so started MidPoint really with the idea that clients that I have interacted with over the years seem to kind of gloss over when we talk about their technology needs. And for people that aren't in the technology industry, it can be a daunting task if you're building out new space or you're renovating your space. What technologies do you need? How to implement them and move forward. And so the idea was to offer all the technologies that an organization would need to facilitate day-to-day business and do it in the best way possible. And really simplify that process for them, and make it easy for them to make the decisions that were going to be the best for their organization and guide them through that process. So that was the reason for starting MidPoint. And we found a lot of success very early on. We started out of the townhome, as you mentioned, in Baltimore, right off of Ford Avenue, and quickly outgrew that. I think we had about 13 people operating out of there before we moved into our first office space. And I never forget the first time one major client, it was Computer Science Corporation at the time. We were doing some work for them, and they came and asked, well, can we come see your offices? It was a moment that was, one of those, gave me a little bit of angst, but it worked out really well. They came, they saw, they said it was very, Google-esque, if you will, in the startup, which was a warm welcome. They were very instrumental in giving us the opportunity to showcase what we could really do, and that was pivotal in our growth in the early years. And then we moved into our first office space, which is about 4,500 square feet, and that was in Hanover, Maryland. And then we quickly outgrew that space and grew into 8,100 square feet, which was a suite next door. And then before we knew it, we were looking at more space. And that's when our landlord said, well, hey, we have a larger facility, let's move you into there. And at the time we thought it was too much space. Within the 2 years we were outgrowing that, and we're in our current facility, which is off of Columbia Gateway Drive, which is 58,000 square feet facility, which is about 40,000 square feet of office and about 14,000 square feet of a warehouse and 4,000 square feet of build shop. So it's a state-of-the-art facility. It helps us to bring the products and services that we offer to our clients.
Well, it's nice to hear about a company increasing their footprint in real estate. So congratulations on the expansion. Are there any sort of case studies or clients that you want to share that you'd walk us through to explain where you've had success?
Yeah, sure. So, there's really two projects that stand out to me. One project is applied predictive technologies. We got asked to bid on their audiovisual project. I believe it was in Rockville, and it was about I think it's 4 floors, and it was a big job for us at the size that we were. I felt very confident in our team and our ability to deliver. We have a major focus on quality, and no matter what, we've built the company off of very seasoned personnel, and so I felt very confident. The issue was, it was definitely about double the size of anything we had done to date. But if you're not growing, right, you're dying as a company. And so, we have high aspirations, and we went after it. We ended up going up against the largest AV integrator really in the world, and we were able to win the job and secure the job. And then we did a really good job, turned it over, and it's a job I'm really proud of. It pushed us into kind of that next tier, next level. As an integrator. The other one that I'm pretty proud of and was featured. I think Crestron had picked it up and featured it as a case study, and that's the Six and I project. That project was really unique because they have it's a historical building, and they were trying to figure out how do we incorporate modern day technology into a historical building, and that becomes a challenge. They built things really well back then, but it doesn't really facilitate for being able to hide things or run things through walls and everything else. So really proud of the team and what they were able to do. They took a lot of great care and measure and really worked with the Six and I folks and the whole project team that was involved with that to make sure that we incorporated that modern day technology in and didn't take anything away from the historic aesthetics of the building, which turned out really well. And it was a Crestron MVX installation, which is really on Crestron's cutting edge technology. So.
In October, MidPoint Technology Group announced an active shooter program that allowed for real-time prevention. How will the program change the landscape of active shooter prevention?
Yeah, so what's everybody's prized possession? It's their kids, and seeing the things that have been happening, unfortunately, over the past decade or so in the school systems and the active shooter. As someone that sees the technology side of things and the products and services that are out there, it can be frustrating a little bit when you see what red tape can keep from happening. And so, talking with the team, we decided to come up with a solution really on how to put together all of the different technologies that are out there that can be implemented to help thwart active shooter or prevent active shooter instances, which again are prevalent. I think we're over 500 for the year already, which is an astronomical number and too much, right? And so we've kind of gone about it a little bit different way than I think most people. Every manufacturer that is in the space, they have great, there's a lot of great products out there, but they're going out at it in a disparate measure. We're trying to pull them all together, really put it together as a cohesive solution, a multi-layered solution. Not one solution is going to be the silver bullet. That's really going to make or break and make a difference. I think all of them acting together, and also process procedures and training. I think all those things together and implementation of the technology is really going to change the landscape of how organizations secure their facilities to try to combat any threat that's out there.
So as I was reading about it, I was trying to understand, is that really going to be a core part of your business, or is this just a new division? Let me get my arms around that part of that. Is it really going to be a new driver of the business?
Yeah, so we have our different divisions in our company. So we have our structured cabling division, our audiovisual division, our data center division, and our security division. We started a couple years ago. We started an electronic security managed services division. The active shooter prevention technologies will be part of the electronic security managed services division, and under that division, we also do video monitoring and more proactive security measures. And so, while it's a smaller part of our business now, we definitely feel like in the future it's going to be a big driver of business for MidPoint. But we make our money and our revenue from different areas of the business. This is more of a trying to do good as well. It's a passion project, if you will, for us, and we're not trying to. We know that other people are going to be able to do what we do. If we can help pave the way, that's going to be a success in our eyes. And at the end of the day, if we're able to, keep people safe and secure more facilities, then I think we will have, achieve what we set out to do, and consider that as a success.
And tell us about some of the key members of your management team.
So we have myself, President CEO. We have John Vinkson, who is our Vice President and COO. Jared Levine, who is a Vice President, and our Vice President of Finance. We have Brian Collis, who's our Vice President of Data Center, and then Jessica Kaspary, who heads up our administrative division and oversees, some business administrative tasks.
And have you been self-funded to date?
Yes, self-funded.
Okay, so all of cash flow. And you've been on a number of lists for your growth. So what is, the Inc. list, and I think the business journals. And so can you tell us what has really been fueling the growth of MidPoint Technology Group?
Our data center business has grown substantially over the years. Our audiovisual and security divisions also have seen some substantial growth. When COVID hit, you had a lot of people start working from home. That also drove data centers to scale up. So we saw an uptick there. Prior to that, there's a lot of companies that waited, to really implement and harness new modern day technology. And I think that, about 5-7 years ago, it was kind of the turning point where you've got, people starting to work from home or in a hybrid manner, and they had to embrace and start bringing on video teleconferencing, increasing their network needs. And all of that is really kind of fueled the infrastructure growth in infrastructure technology that we've seen. Now we're seeing, AI coming on board that has a big compute requirement. So we're seeing that in the data center space at the moment. But and then security on the security side. Obviously, if you watch the news, there's a lot of theft, vandalism. The unrest in certain areas of the country that have fueled some growth there, and security is not going anywhere. It's a good part of our business, and again, it's one of those feel good that when we do something that helps keep people safe. It's a great part of our business.
Okay. Are there any acquisitions or roll-ups on the horizon?
So we're always keeping an eye out for opportunities in the market. We have our eyes on something right now in the federal space. So we primarily operate in the commercial space right now. We've been, over the last couple of years, been working on getting our GSA schedule, moving into the federal side, and bringing some of the products and services that we offer on the commercial side to the government agencies as well. And then we also have another acquisition potential that we're looking at for our electronic security managed services side to help kind of boost that, and catapult us in that division.
So is there any part of your personal entrepreneurial story or the MidPoint Technology Group story that you haven't shared with us that you'd like to share with us?
I mean, the only thing really, 2019, start of 2020 going into COVID, I think for any business was a little bit of a wake-up call, right? I mean, we started 2020 gangbusters, doing really well, and then here comes COVID, and it was a sharp stop in business, if you will, on certain parts of our business. Unfortunately, we've really differentiated and diversified our portfolio of offerings. So when one of our divisions really got impacted, which was our AV division, because we do a lot of higher ed business, we had our other divisions that really came up and were doing well. But it was a challenge, and I think it's one of those, as a business owner, a small business, you just gotta muscle through it, and keep working to get through it and not give up, and that's kind of where we found ourselves, and it ended up 2020 was a great growth year for us, and we've been growing a lot ever since. I think we're about 4 times the size that we were, I think, at the end of 2020. So.
And your grandfather's still alive?
No, he unfortunately passed away right when we moved out of the townhome. Yeah, but
Sorry to hear that, but obviously he gave you some good karma because your growth and trajectory since then has been. I always like finding companies that have self-funded growth stories are hard to find. Self-funded with the growth that you've had. It's exciting to hear your story, and we wish you the best of luck. Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, I was fortunate to have really good mentors. My previous company I worked with, and one of the things is reinvesting back in the company. They were good financial stewards and have a finance background, so we make sure that any profits go back into the company, help fuel that growth. And that's really we have a strategy, and we're sticking to it. And the townhome, they're actually the reason we operated out of the townhome. My grandfather was living with my parents, and so nobody was there. And I lived out in Carroll County, and we needed a more central location to operate out of. And I asked, and he was more than amenable, and said, "Hey, do whatever you need to do." And so we cleared all the furniture off of the first floor, put it in the basement, and we had it built out pretty. It was pretty cool. It looked like when you walked in, it looked like offices, but and from the outside, it was your normal townhome. But it served us well and really catapulted us, and then we're here today, and we have over 230 employees nationwide, and we're operating all across the U.S. and doing some international work. And we're just getting started.
It's an amazing growth trajectory, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Absolutely, I really appreciate you having me.